Hello class, welcome to week 6. Um, One of the first things I wanted to talk about was actually your last exam, which was all the way back in week 4 here. But this is the first video I've recorded since I got in all the results, since it didn't end until week 5. So here are some of the results. It's a bit of a weird spread. And so some of you, it seemed, did pretty well. It seems like you took it fairly seriously. And some of you seem to have a real problem with it, whether it was you were unprepared or maybe you just weren't as motivated to, study. In whatever case, the class average was about 64%, which is not great. And I realize that some of you may have a real hard time with online courses, especially depending on how you are motivated, how well you can self-motivate. And I guess what I can say is that don't be dismayed. If you are in this bracket here, where you ended up getting between 65 and 30%. If you do significantly better on the next 2 exams, I'm willing to just ignore the score on the first exam. For those of you who were up here, you'll be fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, and I won't be offering you guys the same option that these guys are getting. So one thing that I wanted to just reiterate was that you really ought to take a look at these exam review questions at the end of each week. Not everybody has been doing these. This is a great way for you to study for the quiz or for the exams. And particularly in this week, since exam 2 opens up in week 7 and then ends in week 8, you'll want to take a look at this material here. And of course, while you're studying, again, there is this discussion forum. So if you have any questions, I or some of your fellow students may want to answer them there. And all of the exam reviews or just week reviews at the end of each week do count for extra credit. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that, but go ahead and do those. Those are good for you. Let's see. So this week we are doing programs number 15 and 17. We're skipping 16. That's actually mass movements, mass wasting. That's going to be later in the course. Let's see. So we're going to be, for this week's homework, it's going to be your field trip, and you're going to be kind of putting a little bit of forethought into it. It isn't due until the end of the course, Monday, week 10, but you should definitely start thinking about it now, especially because I realize the weather's pretty crap right now, but there may be windows in the next month and a half where your designated field trip area, the weather ends up being great for you to go out. And it's also just great to kind of get this in your head first, and then, depending on the things that you learn in the class, you can either choose something else or it'll inform you about your own field trip. For those of you taking the lab, this week is sedimentary rocks, but it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of turning in a sheet with all of the things that you've identified. Instead, you're going to be answering a short little quiz-like thing. So I think that is it for this week. Again, if you have any questions about anything, shoot me an email or post in some of these forums. If there's anything you're concerned about at this point before you just go ahead and drop the course, do let me know. We might be able to work some things out. All right. Good luck studying. Have a great week.